This week in movies, we're going to be reviewing two. One of them, horror film, per...
I would argue both of them horror films.
Well, interesting. So the first one we're going to talk about that Jeff is referring to is The Changeling, which is the latest and greatest from Clint Eastwood. It happens to be written by J. Michael Straczynski, who many geeks know of Babylon 5 fame.
And Amazing Spider-Man for quite a while.
And he wrote, which comic of his did we, Supreme Power was his? So we reviewed in our comic book section. So a notorious comic book, prolific comic book writer and TV show writer. And this could be his first feature. Don't quote me.
I don't think it is.
Okay.
So definitely don't quote him.
There's something.
I don't know what it is, but...
Okay, anyway. So The Changeling stars Angelina Jolie as a mother whose son is kidnapped. And when that son is brought back to her, she realizes this is not my son, yet is denied that truth.
Takes place in the early 30s?
It takes place in
late 20s.
The late 20s, early
like
30s
28.
in Los Angeles. And what'd you think of it, Alex?
Okay.
I was thinking, did we say it all?
Yeah, that was
it.
Encapsulated
Yeah.
it. Wow, this movie is a really hard movie to watch. You know, I was leaving this movie, and I actually said to Heather, I said, it's hard for me to review movies like this because there's no point in my life that I am ever in the mood to see a movie like this. And that's just me. I'm never in the mood to see a movie that is so, you know, it's
brutal.
It is brutal. It's sad. It's frustrating. It's, you know, it's so many different things, and it's done very well. You know, is it the best movie I've ever seen? No. Is it a very good movie? Yes. You know, I personally thought it was a little long. I thought it had about 7 endings, all of which would have been great endings for me. Like, oh, that was good. Whoa, oh, there's more. Yeah. Oh, okay. So that's what happens with that part of the thing. Okay. All right. Well, okay. And that happens to that guy. Okay. Whoa. Oh. I mean, so to me, it was just a little bit long. I thought the acting was pretty great all around. I don't know if it's... it would be weird to advertise this movie that there's a lot of this in there, but if you're at all uncomfortable with children being in bad situations, avoid it. Heather actually had a couple times where she would have probably left the movie because it really, I mean, the material is very, very, very dark. But overall, I actually thought it was a good movie.
Yeah, I think it is a horror movie, as I said. And I think it's a horror movie where there's a sort of violent villain, and there's also a horrific villain that is corruption. And you know. Clint Eastwood makes good movies. He knows how to make good movies, and his movies are so heartfelt. And I wept several times during this movie. It is very, very powerful. He knows how to get great performances out of his actors. I do agree with you that it did feel like it ended several times, and I thought, you know, this movie could be called Closure instead of Changeling, you know, because basically...
well, first off, Changeling was a horrible title. That's a sci-fi alien movie.
Actually, it is a horror film.
No, I know, but I mean, that's like what you listed, but go on.
The reason we keep going in this movie is to try to find that, that's the thing that's really moving us forward. I think that the only reason this movie works is because it's a true story. If this was a fictional work, I would call bullshit on it numerous times, which is a commentary on how crazy reality can be. You know, the truth is stranger than fiction. The fact that you know it's a true story from the start makes you put up with this. You are so flabbergasted that these series of events could have happened. Yeah. That is impactful. I liked the movie. I don't think it's as good as some of his other stuff, like
Mystic River,
which I think is a masterpiece.
I think $1 Million Baby and Mystic River. I love Clint Eastwood's recent movies, although I did not like the World War II films. But he's definitely this isn't like blood work and whatever. There's
Space Cowboys.
Yeah, he's a new filmmaker now, and this fits into his newer movies. we never got a chance to talk about $1 Million Baby or Mystic River on the show. And the star of those films and of this movie for me is the cinematography. This guy, Tom Stern, shoots a movie the way no other cinematographer shoots a movie. I actually think he's the Frank Miller of cinematographers. There's so much negative, dark space.
Interesting.
It's more in $1 Million Baby, but still here. It's negative, black space. It's gonna sound really cheesy for me to say, but he like paints with shadows, which is like the name of a cheesy cinematography book, I'm sure. But like, it's so true with this guy.
If not, I'm writing it.
Cliche. That being said, I really didn't like the movie.
Oh, really?
It doesn't surprise me at all.
I
can see how you didn't. People wouldn't.
I only kind of sort of liked the last 20 minutes.
Wow.
Because it was like starting with a prison happenings, because it finally felt to me like people behaving like people.
Right.
For the whole leading up to it, nothing unexpected ever happened, and people spoke the way.
Only because you knew the premise. It's very unexpected if you don't know the premise.
I disagree because of the way that everything is portrayed. It doesn't feel like it's based on human behavior. I've said this a million times, but it bears repeating.
I mean, it feels like a caricature of the time.
Like
rather than...
there's moments where characters say things like, "Hey Ben, bring her back to the station," and Ben, bring her around back. That's the movie. Never in your life have you ever said, "I dare you." Have you ever, if Alex went down to the car, would you ever go, "And Alex, come back with this," or whatever? You would never go, "And Alex." That is a movie
Sure
like,
you do.
I would.
No, I know you mean. He'd be like, hey, go get something.
Yeah.
Alex, get something.
Oh
Dan,
shit, Alex.
Dan, grab something out of
Alex.
the car.
Dan, whatever.
And
yeah.
I'd be like,
You're
and
saying
also,
you're saying it doesn't seem like he just thought of that second part now.
It's-
He always knew he was going to say the second
Well,
part,
no.
but he's phrased it in a way that has.
It's that pentameter or rhythm of speech is the way people speak in older films, which may have been a choice, but it's the way people speak in movies, not in life. But to me, at the end, people behaved and spoke the way interesting people would behave, and things are happening.
yeah,
as
like if you
opposed
were
to
at a
just,
cocktail party and people were yelling.
No, but there was actually human behavior going on. I did not see any of that portrayed at all in the beginning. Three-quarters.
I find that
of
to
the
be a
movie.
very odd criticism for this movie because I didn't see that at all, and
Yeah.
it doesn't resonate with me as being something that now that you bring it up, I look back and go, oh yes.
I can see it because it definitely
felt so cliche
Well,
to
but
me.
it was a
Everyone's
melodrama. I mean,
performance.
the movie itself
Right.
was a melodrama.
Right.
So of course there's going to be that over-the-top melodramatic, I mean, but first off, I was sort of surprised at how well Angelina Jolie was in this movie because I was kind of a little nervous that.
Yeah, she was better than everyone else, but I don't know.
Well, I don't know if I agree with that, but
Yeah.
anyway.
Okay, so the next one is a big deal movie. It's like,
Really?
remember we talked about The Orphanage last year as this horror film that was getting all these great reviews at film festivals, and we saw
And
it
by
before.
us.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen The Orphanage, rent it
Oh,
immediately.
God. On Blu-ray,
Absolutely.
scare the poop out of you.
Perfect Halloween watching.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it's out on Blu-ray, that's
yeah.
right.
If you speak Spanish, you better. Because it's in Spanish.
Anyway, well, this year's The Orphanage is a movie called Let the Right One In, which everyone is raving about. It's only out in limited release, but we got a chance to go see it today.
At Lamb
And
Sunset 5.
It's essentially it's a Swedish film directed by Tomas Adolfsson.
Is he related to the Njords in the movie? Sorry, keep going.
Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't.
I know. I just was giggling at the beginning
And
of the movie. during the credits.
essentially, it's a coming-of-age tale about a young, sort of
Swedish boy.
prepubescent teen, misfit outcast who meets another outcast girl and forms a relationship. And this girl turns out to be a vampire. So, what did you think of this special horror film, Jeffrey?
It's very difficult these days, I think, to plumb new ground in these.
Vampires.
I would say
these-
plumbing in general is pretty difficult.
to find a new take on these classic monster concepts,
Right, it's kind of like what I was talking about in the Top Talk.
Yeah,
Yes,
right.
exactly.
It fits right into exactly what you said.
And you know, this movie is almost Teen Wolf with vampires if it had really been a fucking werewolf. You know,
Right.
Not a happy fun time werewolf, real werewolf.
Interesting.
Right. So this is that idea. I found the movie to be really slow and hard to watch at the beginning. Every single take, every single shot, every single scene lasts a little bit longer than it needed to. But the whole experience was worth it for the end. Not gonna say what the end was, but the entire experience of watching the movie for me was worth it for the end. Not a movie that I'll recommend you seek out because this is a film you need to seek out. I don't think it's that worthwhile. There's some really great stuff and some really clever ideas. I just don't think the execution was as tight enough as I would have liked. I literally fought falling asleep a little bit during the beginning, but the end brings it home.